This guy, the military spokesman, said it 3 times. So he was emphasizing something. So what's significant about these two countries here? Mali and Burkina Faso. What's significant about them? They pushed their former colonial masters out. And they are working in conjunction with China and Russia. And they're trying to break the back of colonial power in Africa. So they want unity. Now, I want you to understand something. So I like to give you an example. I like to give you examples that penetrate the heart so that you can see the other side and their humanity, okay? Because sometimes when people give you news and they brush over it, you can't relate. You can't see the humanity in what other people are doing. You only recognize your part of what's been told to you. Now, let's look at this. The European Union is talking about a European security architecture, right? Remember what I talked about? They're talking about a new European security architecture. Now, I want you to understand the significance of that. Nobody in Asia is destabilizing Europe. Nobody in Latin America is destabilizing Europe. Nobody in West Asia is destabilizing Europe. Nobody in Africa is destabilizing Europe. Nobody in the Middle East is destabilizing Europe. So why all of the focus is on a new European security architecture when it is Europe that is destabilizing Latin America, West Asia, Asia, East Europe, Africa, and the Middle East? You make that make sense. Niger is not trying to steal the resources of Europe. Europe is in Niger stealing the resources of Niger. But the West gives this humanitarian look to it. Oh, we want the democratically elected president back in office. Now, I want you to understand something. All while talking, we talked about Viktor Yanukovych. Why haven't they left Syria at the request of the Syrian Arab Republic's government, the leader, the military, and the people? Because according to the Carter Center, you know President Carter? According to the Carter Center, Bashir Assad was freely and duly reelected as the legitimate president of the Syrian Arab Republic. So to ignore his demands that U.S. troops that are illegally stationed there pack up and leave, that is to ignore democracy. So why aren't we talking about that? Oh, I know why. Do as I say and not as I do. How dare you think that you're on an equal footing with the West? How dare you think that your vote counts, your word counts, if you're not a part of the garden? These people are crazy as hell. Well, let's go further. See, we see these swinging pendulums, right? And these changing paradigms. Think about this. 20 years ago, you would have never seen African nations do what they're doing now. 20 years ago, you would have never seen that. That's something else. What is going on? So now, what some of these nations have done, they have gotten military training from Russia, from Iran, from China, from South Africa. And they have received certain arms from these countries. You got to excuse the phone is going off. Sometimes I even forget we have a landline. But anyway, now these nations are receiving intelligence, weapons, and training from outside sources outside of the West. Right? I wouldn't be surprised if my cell phone goes off in a minute. Outside of the West. No, baby, just leave the phone alone. I got it. Thank you, though. Anyway, so as I said, this you have never seen 20 years ago, but now you see two African nations standing up saying that an attack on Niger is an attack on Burkina Faso and Mali. So why is it okay for America to have a military alliance with NATO, with European nations? And why is it okay for there to be a security architecture for European nations? But there's a big blow up and brouhaha that African nations are now standing up in unity with each other and in unison with one another. Why is that? Because we're still looking at things through a colonial lens. We're still looking at things through a Western-dominated picture. And that's not how things are anymore. There's new paradigms that are constantly on the horizon. These changes are they're quick, they're lightning fast, and they're throwing the colonial powers and the institutions of colonialism and Western dictates. They're throwing them for a loop, and they don't understand how to deal with this. Now, that said, let's go a little further in the article. See, I'm not even lying. Look, I told you about the truth. Look what it says. I'm going to scoot down a little bit. It says, in case of an intervention, the two countries would withdraw from the economic community of West African states and adopt self-defense measures in support of the armed forces and the people of Niger. That's the way it's supposed to be. Europe does.